we started the book with two fundamental premises, which was based on big problems, two problems. Problem number one is that there is such an assortment of metrics. There's like 100 metrics for social media alone. And yet marketers are bombarded by all these metrics and they're not sure which ones to look at, which ones are going to actually really move the dial on ROI and financial kinds of things that the CEO and the CFO are looking at. And so they're trying to figure out, how do we know that we achieve success? What is success? And the second problem is that in this day and age, with so many different communication choices and digital technologies and social media, the consumer has essentially learned how to tune messages out, and particularly advertising messages. So how do you break through the clutter? So looking at those two problems, we came up with, on the performance side or measurement side, what are the key metrics that you need to measure. The other problem of engaging consumers online is really a tricky one because they have so many different ways of avoiding your messages. So what we argue is that it's not so much about creating advertising that interrupts or disrupts the content that you came to see in the first place. Let's say you went to YouTube and there's an ad in front of you. We argue that marketers need to be in the content business themselves and create content, including videos, that are inherently interesting, entertaining, useful, or something that they want to share with other people.
What are the opportunities for brands around video or marketers around video?
Well, if we look at the video landscape today, according to eMarketer estimates, about 2/3 of internet users in the US are regularly watching videos. And if you look at certain demographic groups, like teens and millennials, they're off the charts, 80–90% depending on which research sources you look at. So there's a lot of folks doing it. And increasingly, they're consuming not just little digital snacking segments, as we like to call them, but they're consuming full-length TV shows and movies. So when you think of the proliferation of content and video content that's happening online, the question for marketers is, how do I break through that? How do I get their time and attention, which is really the most scarce resource? It's not money so much. It's 24 hours in a day, and I have only a certain amount of time that I'm watching video online. How can I break through? And it probably is not going to be a standard, typical television ad. It's got to be content that I'm interested in seeing, that provides value to me, that I say, you know what, I'm going to spend a few seconds or a few minutes or even a few hours with this content because it's that interesting. And some of the ways to do that are with really compelling video ads, but we argue that in addition to that, think of it as the marketer asks the question of him or herself, what can I provide that is going to be welcomed by the consumer? It's probably not going to be an ad so much as useful content. So we have 5 criteria. Is it unique? Is it fun? Is it useful? Is it well executed? Because you can have a great idea, and if you execute poorly, it will never go anywhere. And then finally, does it make good use of the channel? And video is one of those channels where there's so much opportunity because it's got the sight, sound, motion, and importantly, emotion that comes with television. And yet versus television, it's better measured, it's more targeted, and it has that engagement factor that goes beyond just the single individual that's experiencing it, because they can instantly, immediately share that with other people.
Where are things going? Where do you see the the video world, in either in terms of devices, online, live? What are some of the big trends that you see coming down the pike?
I hate to predict beyond 2 months, but I'll go out on a limb here. It's clear that video consumption is just going to continue to increase. I said that about 2/3 of internet users are regularly doing that. We're going to see that easily climb to 3/4 in the next couple of years. But more importantly than the numbers of people actually consuming online video is that you're going to see them consuming more of it. What we're going to see is a steady increase in the number of hours spent per day or per week downloading, streaming video of all kinds. And I think the key thing is to remember is that the content is coming from so many different places, because you've got obviously publishers and broadcasters who are putting out lots of great content. The magazine business has to be in the TV business now. You've got Hollywood, you've got television networks who are pumping out all this stuff. At the same time, you've got consumers putting out great content in the form of online video. And as I said before, you're going to have marketers putting it out. So what's the best way to get people's attention when there's such a great amount of content? You have to put out other content that's equally immersive, equally compelling. And that's, again, the secret to magnetic content. The other thing that we're going to see is the ad dollars that are associated with online video are going to continue to grow. eMarketer estimates that the growth in dollars for online video this year is upwards of 40%. And nothing else, no other format, display, search, email, nothing else is growing as fast as online video. We're going to see that growth rate in the double digits for the next 3, 4, 5 years. So a lot of dollars are at stake.